All right, ladies and gentlemen. So we have more information regarding layoffs that are hitting the gaming industry. This is something that is happening damn near every week at this point. And this one is coming, at least for announcement anyway, coming from one of the bigger companies that a lot of people do not like in the gaming industry. And that has to be the Embracer Group. The Embracer Group gets blamed for a lot of DEI-oriented nonsense that happens within a lot of studios that they essentially have under their umbrella. And unfortunately, it looks like for them that they had to let go of 2,000 employees in just the last year alone. And after this announcement, they are joining an extremely long list that I have here that we're going to go over in this video, showcasing just how bad the layoffs are actually hitting this year in 2025, considering in 2024, there was over 24,000 people fired from the gaming industry. So let's get into this article. But of course, before we do, special shout out to the 90,400 of you that are watching this video right now that are subscribed. And if you are part of the 50% that are not subscribed and you enjoy this content, consider hitting that subscribe to help me get to 100,000 subscribers. I would greatly appreciate it. So again, Embracer made significant cuts to its employee numbers over the last year. In its annual report, which again, the reason why we're talking about this now is because they release their report every year, obviously the annual report, and they release it on Thursday. So now we get all the information. This page, this stuff is actually extremely long. They linked it at the bottom. It's 184 pages. That's how long the report is from the Embracer Group. 184 pages. It's insane. But in any case, in the annual report released on Thursday, it was revealed that the Swedish company let go of 1,857 people in the last year alone. The employee cuts were made across the board, but Embracer's PC and console games division took the biggest hit after having 6,404 employees at the end of March. The number dropped to 4,918 by the end of March 2025. And that's a decrease of 1,486 people in the PC and console section of the company. Now, this is actually pretty damn amazing to me, to be honest with you, because the Embracer Group has a lot of titles and games under their division. And the simple fact is some of them have been fairly successful and some of them have been flops. But unfortunately, it seems like those flops, on top of just where the industry is going and the lack of easy money that is available to them, unfortunately, it seems like they had to let go of these 1,500 people. And to be honest with you, a lot of people will try to make it spin into this whole sad story of, oh, you should never wish for these people to get fired. First off, these people will wish me dead. All right. I just want to be very clear. Number one. Number two, if they don't wish me dead, they would at least wish that I got fired. So that's just number two. And number three, I'm not going to pretend to care about the people that spend all their times, whether privately or publicly, trying to do everything they can to essentially hate the customer that they sell games to. Right. This is not everybody, obviously, but this is the majority of the industry. And this is why we are in the problem that we are in right now. But regardless, on the mobile side, because the mobile side was affected as well, headcount fell from 1,081 to 743, while the entertainment and services dropped from 771 to 738. In total, the company now has 6,482 when counting everyone from across various areas and contract types. So that's actually so interesting to me. That's so interesting to me that it seems like the majority of their employees seem to be in the PC and console, with very little to be in mobile, right? And very little to be pretty much anywhere else. Entertainment and services, right? That's under 1,000 employees to begin with, regardless. Because of the large number of cuts on the company, Embracer saw its internal studio count fall from 73 to 62. So they went from having 73 studios under their helm to now 62 studios under their helm. They closed down in the last year alone 11 studios under their company umbrella. That is insane. 11 studios is wild. It says that on the PC and console side to 8 from 11 on the mobile end. Of the layoffs and cutbacks, Embracer says that it is now leaner and more focused. I like how they try to use these company like PR words, right? Oh, we're leaner. We're more focused. No. You guys laid off people because you had no choice. You lost money. You obviously got to do it in order to make your investors happy so that they feel like you're not going to go too much in the red at this point. But leaner and more focused as a company after 2024 was another year of consolidation and restructuring across the industry as a whole, with many company closures as well as job layoffs. Embracer expects it to continue throughout 2025 across the industry, but says that it believes that most severe phase of the cuts has ended. So they're actually expecting more layoffs, but they think that this is the biggest amount of layoffs that they're going to do in the next year or two. That's what they're thinking at this point in time. So now that we know how many they laid off, let's go into the videotape, as they like to say, and let's see just how bad things are looking in the gaming industry. So this was last updated on 6/16 of 2025. This is a industry layoff tracker that we've been using to kind of keep track of all the layoffs that have been happening in the industry right now. In 2024, like I said, this number is not accurate because there is a bunch of question marks here of studios that are not telling people how much they fired, or maybe you found out after the fact and it was a little bit too late. But it is a known fact that there is well over 20,000 people that were fired in 2024 alone. This number suffers from the same thing because there's a lot of question marks here. So I'll just go over this month alone. Let's just cover this month and what's happened this month. So yeah, People Can Fly. You guys remember People Can Fly? We talked about that on Hypnocast, and I think I also did a video on it. 120 people laid off, right? Extra Games, 60 plus people laid off, and they were under the umbrella of Take-Two Interactive. Outplay Entertainment, this was a mobile-focused company. 21 people were fired. Playtika, we did a video on Hypnocast. We actually did this on Playtika, which is 160 people fired. They were mobile-focused. JagX, no idea how many they were fired. No idea what they focus on. It just says online at this point. Ben Studio, we also just recently talked about. This was the company that was focusing supposedly on a live service God of War game. They got canceled, whatever. They fired 40 plus people, and they're under the umbrella of Sony. We got Free Range Games, which is recently on the 16th. They're an indie developer, and they just didn't say how many people were fired. And then last but not least, we got Archetype Entertainment under the company of Hasbro. Unknown amount of people got fired because they don't want to tell people half the time. And I'm sure this is going to get a lot worse. Once this updates again, keep in mind, we got Microsoft laying off another few thousand people. They laid off 6,000 people recently as of May of this year. And they have another few thousand that they have lined up that they're going to be firing, which supposedly most are salespeople. But we'll see if any of it affects the gaming industry for Microsoft. But it's insane what's going on, man. And all of this is happening in the year of 2025. And I just find it very ironic, and I'm sure a lot of you guys do as well, that the moment the money starts to dry up and actually starts to go away, suddenly all these studios that were hanging on by a thread, that were being subsidized by all kinds of ridiculous money, are no longer able to stay alive and are just all starting to let people go. So I am always excited whenever I see layoffs, and I think Embracer Group is a company that absolutely is one of these companies that should be laying off people. And they lost 11 studios, which for me, I feel like that's huge. At this point, they need to keep cutting and keep getting down to see who is really about it and who's not at this point, because the bloat problem that's happening in the gaming industry is huge. It's ridiculous, no pun intended. And at this point, it needs to be handled. One of the biggest problems in the gaming industry, there's two. One, really bad writers. That is plaguing the entertainment industry as a whole, not even just gaming. And number two, the bloat. The amount of bloat that's in these studios have to be taken care of. They have to be let go. They have to be fired. And sadly, a lot of studios are too scared to let them go because they've been feeding these people's egos. They've been feeding these people's narcissism, telling them how special they are and how brave they are and how thankful they are that they were able to be hired because of their skin color, their sexuality, or whatever nonsense that has nothing to do with whether or not they can make a video game. But now, now you got to pay up. Now at this point, you got to let them go. And you got to cause this uncomfortable conversation of, hey, remember what we told you that we're super happy to have you because, you're black? Well, we can't afford you anymore. That's going to be a really bad conversation to have. But, that's a conversation that they put themselves in. So you guys let me know in the comments down below of this video. What are you thinking? Are you thinking that this is a good thing? Is it not enough? You're probably thinking it's not enough. And I would agree with that sentiment. But let me know what you think about Embracer letting go of 2,000 or nearly 2,000 people, the majority being from PC and console. And how do you think this is going to affect the games that are coming out from their 60-some-odd studios that they now have under their belt? That is no longer the 70-plus number that they had before. Let me know in the comments. And special shout-out to the 90,400-plus of you that are subscribed to the channel. Thank you so much for subscribing. And if you are not subscribed and you enjoyed this video, consider hitting that subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.